Hi, my name is Stephanie Rawls, and today I will be discussing the topic of Korean censorship. Particularly, I will analyze the relevance of the history with regards to how it affects different types of media works. But I chose to focus mainly on film out of all the different media works because it seemed to be the most impacted. So let's get started. To begin, we have to go over the history of the censorship that occurred in Korea. So basically, between the 60s and 80s, there were a time where, Korea was under this military dictatorship, and as a result, they enforced intense censorship of media works, including film. Basically, they established a motion picture promotion production team, which basically focused on providing, different types of criteria that basically said if the film doesn't, abide by these criteria, then it will not be allowed to be viewed. The criteria basically focused on, shedding good light on the military, suppressing, the thoughts of Koreans and different things like that. But however, we saw a shift in 1988 when the Olympics occurred, and we saw the Gwangju uprising and June Democratic struggle, where we saw people were becoming coming to a breaking point where they just really just wanted to express their ideas. And as time went by, we went through the Korean wave in the 1990s, where basically directors talked about their different social commentaries regarding society in Korea to the point where we have modern times and different Korean movies and films. So this brings us to our main question. Is this history still relevant today? Does it cast a shadow on Korean film? To me, in my opinion, I feel that to an extent this history is still relevant. However, it is not as strict as it was during the late to mid 20th century. I feel it matters more of showing the progress that Korea has experienced. And instead, it shows how much Korea has moved away from their former dictatorship and embraced their influential rule throughout the world and strive and basically has become a superpower of the world due to its influence around, well, basically everyone. For my chosen media work to synthesize my argument, I have chosen the 2019 film Parasite. I feel Parasite is the best example for exemplifying Korea's complex relationship with censorship because it shows how far Korea has come to relaxing its censorship policy. It must be acknowledged that yes, the Korean government still practiced censorship of its media work, even in film in modern time. However, in its earlier day, it was much more extreme. For example, from the essay From Censorship to Active Support by Choi, we see that there were times when censorship included limited time frames for local movies to be viewed. And then there was also a sort of a blockade where foreign films and products weren't allowed to even be imported or exported into the country. In contrast, we know that Parasite is an infamously and globally known film. It has won many international awards, including the Top Cannes Film Award, many Oscars, as well as it grossed internationally $263 million. This exemplifies how Korean film not only no longer has these strict limitations, as there was not a local limited time frame that the film had to be watched, because we see that, well, in many ways we can watch Parasite on many different streaming platforms, as well as we see there is an international influence because everyone knows about the film Parasite. It is not a film that is new to many people. Another way that Parasite shows change is that it exemplifies how Korean films are allowed to provide social commentaries and criticism of the country. As expressed by Choi, the dictatorship restricted people from expressing their grievances regarding the country due to fear. But as Korea grew to desire international influence and attracting different other countries, the censorship with nationalist sentiments basically dropped. As a result of this transition where social commentary was more allowed and more, invited into the Korean cinema, Parasite is a perfect example of exactly what a social commentary is about. basically, Parasite discusses the social marginalization that occurs in South Korea. It basically talks about two families, one that is lower class and one that is upper class, where, we see the different lives in which they live. We see the different conditions that they have, the different attitudes they have regarding different situations. And to me, it feels that previously, during Korea's oppressive censorship, this would have been a major restriction or a major ban, because basically the director is expressing his grievances regarding the country and regarding the government. Basically, he's criticizing how, they are aware that these things happen with the lower class, but they don't really, I won't say they don't acknowledge it, but he's more saying maybe we should look at how, these different things are. And he's basically criticizing the upper class. He's criticizing the higher ups, the government. And I won't necessarily say the military per se, but they could have possibly, if this film was made in the 60s or 70s, would have found a way to say, oh, this is something that is against our military, of course. So it is very nice to see that we have gone from the 60s, where social commentary regarding the poor, the lower class, criticizing higher ups, which is a major ban and a possibility of imprisonment, to modern day now in 2019, where we see the harsh conditions that the lower class experience. And we see that, yes, Korea has a lower class that experience different things, such as, in the film where there's the flooding of the family's home and they have really nowhere to go after the rainstorm. We see instances of that where it's not all perfect in the country. It's really just, they're just like everyone else. There's a lower and upper class, and there's a big divide between the two. Ultimately, the main takeaway that the film exhibits is that Korea no longer falls into a country that basically focuses on controlling its people and controlling the perception that everyone has of it. Instead, it is invested in providing the world with the true and unforeseen commentary that is provided for different countries, and it allows for social discussion amongst others. It is, however, I am not trying to say that Korea contains no censorship. No, there is indeed still censorship that exists throughout the media. But the thing is that this is in every country. For example, we know that in Korea, major shows that are censored or well banned are basically South Park and The Interview. These are these are films though that focus on illicit material, and basically what Korea right now focuses on censoring is, not limiting the social commentary or expression of self in media, but instead stopping explicit material from being exposed to its viewers, probably, their kids and all, to, ensure that they have a healthy environment. To the extent, you gotta realize that every country does this. The USA does this. There are certain things that we cannot see on YouTube and on TikTok and different places like that. What matters is that Korea no longer tries to control the thoughts or the speech of its people, and it is focused on a future where all the cultures can mingle and, discuss different things about society through the use of their films. So this concludes my presentation. I look forward to listening and hearing back regarding feedback on the information I provided, as well as the content and presentation of my findings and observations. To follow are the references, and thank you for watching.